In the rapidly evolving digital landscape, a peculiar narrative is unfolding, one that seems increasingly bizarre and unsettling. The title of the video captures this growing sense of uncertainty and unpredictability that characterizes our present times. The rise in cybersecurity threats is one of the most alarming aspects of this narrative. Incidents are increasing at an unprecedented rate, with some appearing to be linked to specific countries such as China. Case in point is the significant cyber-related issue at a power station in January, which hinted at possible geopolitical motivations. This incident underscores the susceptibility of our digital infrastructure to attacks, particularly those targeting financial systems. The urgency of being vigilant, informed, and prepared for potential future cyber threats cannot be overstated. Simultaneously, the economic landscape presents its own set of concerns. In 2020, nearly half of the USD in circulation was printed, leading to questions about its distribution and impact. The majority of the stimulus money did not reach the average American, raising serious concerns about who truly benefited from it. The subsequent inflation has had a detrimental effect on ordinary Americans, reducing the value of their savings and escalating the cost of living. So let's continue this discussion on the current state of affairs and explore the potential solutions to these complex issues. New York City, the melting pot of cultures, has long been a beacon for migrants seeking the American dream. However, recent events have cast a shadow on this shining city. The city is grappling with an unprecedented influx of migrants, a situation that has swiftly escalated into a humanitarian and sanitary crisis. The numbers are staggering. Migrant population figures have risen from 990,000 to an overwhelming 1,600,000. This sudden surge has put immense pressure on the city's resources and infrastructure, raising serious questions about its preparedness and ability to deal with such situations. One of the most pressing issues facing these migrants is the lack of access to basic amenities such as restrooms. This has led to unsanitary conditions in public spaces, creating a health hazard for both the migrant community and the city's residents. The problem is not just one of convenience or comfort. It is a matter of public health and safety. Without access to proper sanitation facilities, diseases can spread rapidly, putting even more strain on the city's already overburdened healthcare system. Mayor Adams has called for federal assistance and expedited work authorization for migrants, recognizing the potential of this workforce to contribute positively to the city's economy. By allowing migrants to secure employment, the city would not only be providing them with a means to support themselves, but also integrating them into the fabric of New York City. This, however, is a long-term solution. And the Mi Vida term, there is a dire need for measures to alleviate the current crisis. The city's largest intake center, a place designed to provide shelter and assistance to migrants, is overwhelmed. With its capacity exceeded, many migrants are forced to sleep on sidewalks, deprived of basic amenities. This state of affairs paints a grim picture of a city struggling to uphold its reputation as a haven for those seeking a new life. The introduction of portable restrooms was an attempt to address the sanitation issue. However, due to the unsanitary conditions that quickly developed, these facilities were removed. This decision, while understandable from a public health perspective, has only exacerbated the problem. It underscores the need for a more sustainable solution, one that goes beyond temporary measures and addresses the root of the issue. In a city as advanced and resourceful as New York, this crisis highlights a failure in preparedness and infrastructure, a failure to anticipate and plan for such a large influx of migrants. The city now finds itself in a situation where it must not only accommodate these newcomers, but also ensure their basic needs are met, all while maintaining its own functionality. The second bizarre incident that is causing waves occurred in Raleigh, North Carolina, where a routine car sale at the We Buy Any car dealership turned into a violent altercation. Chad Shipley, who had arrived to sell his sister's car, found himself in the throes of a violent encounter that left him with a fractured skull and broken teeth. What was supposed to be a straightforward transaction quickly spiraled into a shocking case of violence, casting a dark shadow over the seemingly innocuous act of selling a used car. The details of the incident are both perplexing and disturbing. The altercation took place on January 12th at a branch located off Capitol Boulevard. Shipley's sister was waiting outside in the car, oblivious to the unfolding violence inside the dealership. Your question that looms large is how a simple car sale could escalate into such shocking violence. What transpired within the confines of the dealership that led to such a drastic turn of events? The aftermath of the incident saw Raleigh police and EMS being called to the scene. Initial reports suggest that both Shipley and the worker, Sherman James Jr., were charged with simple assault. However, the severity of Shipley's injuries, a fractured skull and broken teeth, suggests a violent encounter far beyond a mere scuffle. This discrepancy in the charges and the actual injuries sustained raises serious questions about the handling of the case by the authorities. Shipley now faces a long and painful recovery process. His injuries require extensive medical intervention, including plastic surgery and consultations with specialists. The physical and emotional toll of the incident is immense. It is a bitter irony that a simple act of selling a car has resulted in such life-altering consequences. Adding another layer of mystery to this already strange event is CBS 17's request for video footage of the altercation. Despite their request, the footage has not been released. This withholding of potentially crucial evidence further muddies the waters and fuels speculation about the circumstances surrounding the fight. The lack of transparency raises concerns about the actual sequence of events that led to such a violent outcome. The We Buy Any Car company has condemned the incident, but has remained vague about how it plans to address the violence that occurred at its dealership. This lack of specifics does little to assuage public concern about safety at their facilities. It also raises questions about the company's responsibility in ensuring the security of its customers and the steps it is taking to prevent such incidents from happening in the future. This bizarre incident has sparked a public outcry for clarity and answers. The public wants to understand the events leading to Shipley's injuries and how the situation was handled by both the dealership and the authorities. The incident serves as a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of everyday transactions and the potential for violence in the most unexpected places. As the public waits for answers, the incident remains a baffling example of just how strange and terrifying everyday situations can become. The third bizarre incident that we must delve into concerns the rising tensions between the United States and Iran, a scenario that has been described by an ex-Trump advisor as a precursor to an imminent war. The situation is complex, with Iran's objectives including the expulsion of the U.S. from the Middle East and the destruction of Israel. This puts the Biden administration in an uninviable dilemma. How can they avoid appeasing Iran without stumbling into an all-out conflict? This delicate balancing act is further complicated by Iran's bold actions and those of its proxies. The fear is that these aggressive maneuvers could inadvertently lead to a war that could have otherwise been avoided. This is not a simple case of posturing or saber rattling. The stakes are incredibly high. A war in the Middle East would have devastating consequences not only for the region but also for global stability. Yeah, the situation could become even more fraught if Iran achieves nuclear capability. The prospect of a nuclear-armed Iran is alarming, to say the least. It could potentially trigger a regional nuclear arms race, escalating tensions to a whole new level. The effectiveness of traditional deterrence strategies is questionable in this scenario, given the disregard for mass casualties exhibited by Iran's proxies. This presents a unique challenge, for they prevent Iran from becoming nuclear power without resorting to military action. In the midst of this escalating crisis, the U.S. and its Arab allies are rethinking their approach to governance and democracy in the Middle East. This is a critical juncture that requires careful consideration and strategic planning. The goal is to manage the situation without exacerbating tensions or causing further instability in an already volatile region. Adding another layer of complexity to this situation are the strained relations between the U.S. and Israel, particularly with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The U.S.-Israel relationship has traditionally been a cornerstone of American policy in the Middle East, but recent developments have put this alliance under stress. This puts the Biden administration in a difficult position as it must navigate these strained ties while also dealing with the imminent threat posed by Iran. Finally, there is the issue of protecting international waters like the Red Sea. These waters are critical for global trade, and any disruption to their safety could have far-reaching economic repercussions. Ensuring their security requires international cooperation and a unified front against potential threats. In summary, the situation between the U.S. and Iran is indeed bizarre and fraught with danger. It's a high-stakes game of chess where the wrong move could lead to devastating consequences. As the world watches with bated breath, the hope is that diplomacy and reason will prevail over aggression and conflict. But, as we have seen, when it comes to international relations, nothing is ever straightforward or predictable. The fourth bizarre incident pertains to the current state of the U.S. job market, which is showing a level of resilience that has surprised many. Despite numerous challenges, the market seems to be heading towards a soft landing, a scenario in which a significant economic downturn is avoided while inflation is cooled off. This scenario is a delicate balancing act, and its successful execution would be nothing short of remarkable given the current global economic climate. However, the situation is far from straightforward. Jobless claims have increased to a 1-month high after being near 54-year lows, signaling potential concerns for the economy. This increase could be indicative of a larger issue within the job market and the economy as a whole. Yet, non-seasonally adjusted figures reveal a drop in jobless claims, suggesting that more Americans are finding work. But this positive trend is counterbalanced by the fact that over 2 million people remain stuck on unemployment. Furthermore, continued claims have risen, indicating that a larger number of people are relying on unemployment benefits. This increase is concerning as it impacts consumer spending and overall economic health. The ability of consumers to spend is a crucial driver of the economy, and a decrease in spending can have ripple effects across various sectors. In the midst of this uncertainty, the stock market has been rallying, driven by optimism for a soft landing. However, this optimism must be tempered with caution. Sustained improvement in the job market is essential to avoid a significant market correction. If the job market falters, the stock market could follow suit, leading to a potential economic downturn. Adding a layer of complexity to this situation is the U.S. economy's 3.3% growth last quarter. While this growth provides hope for investors, it also raises questions about the sustainability of this momentum. Can the economy continue to grow at this rate, or is a slowdown inevitable? These are questions that will need to be addressed in the coming months. Finally, inflation remains a critical issue. The current situation does not show runaway inflation, but it does require a careful balance between wage increases and economic growth. If wages increase too quickly, it could lead to inflation. But if wages don't keep up with the cost of living, it could lead to decreased consumer spending and an economic slowdown. In conclusion, the U.S. job market is in a state of flux. While there are signs of resilience, there are also indicators of potential trouble ahead. It's a bizarre situation that requires careful monitoring and strategic decision-making. As we move forward, it will be interesting to see how this situation unfolds and what impacts it will have on the overall economy. The fifth point in this unfolding series of bizarre incidents revolves around the disturbing realm of cybersecurity and foreign interference. This phenomenon is not new, but recent developments have brought it to the forefront of public consciousness. The specific concern lies in the potential disruption of critical infrastructure, particularly power stations, by foreign operatives linked to the Chinese government. The warnings are stark and alarming. Us officials have made it clear that hackers linked to the Chinese government are actively targeting critical U.S. infrastructure, preparing to cause real-world harm to Americans. This is not an abstract or distant threat. It's a clear and present danger that could have devastating consequences on a national scale. This situation has been exacerbated by the fact that cyber attacks on power grids have already succeeded in causing temporary, large-scale blackouts in the recent past. These successful attacks serve as a chilling reminder of the vulnerabilities in our critical infrastructure and the potential for catastrophic disruptions. It's a war being waged in the shadows with the potential to plunge entire cities into darkness. FBI Director Christopher Wray has warned about the growing threat of Chinese cyber attacks against U.S. electrical grids and other infrastructure. These threats aren't just aimed at causing temporary disruptions. They're designed to wreak havoc on a much larger scale. The audacity and scale of these attacks underscore the urgency of the situation and the need for robust cybersecurity measures. The Chinese military is reportedly ramping up its ability to disrupt key American infrastructure, including power and water utilities. This escalation is alarming and suggests a concerted effort to undermine the stability of the U.S. through strategic cyber attacks. It's a form of warfare that doesn't require a single soldier to set foot on enemy soil, yet has the potential to cause widespread chaos and destruction. Despite these threats, there's reason to hope. The U.S. has reportedly disrupted a state-backed Chinese effort to plant malware that could be used to damage critical infrastructure. This successful disruption is a testament to the capabilities of U.S. Cybersecurity defenses, but it's clear that constant vigilance is required. The battle against cyber threats is ongoing and relentless. The sixth point in this series of bizarre events involves a situation that has been unfolding in the metro Atlanta area. A local woman, Michelle Rabinovich, claims her car was severely damaged by contaminated gasoline she purchased at a Costco outlet in Sandy Spring. The incident has raised concerns about the quality of fuel being sold to unsuspecting motorists and the potential repercussions on both their vehicles and their wallets. Michelle's experience with the allegedly contaminated fuel paints a grim picture. She recounts how her 2022 Volkswagen began exhibiting alarming symptoms shortly after refueling at the Costco station. Her car started shaking violently, and the engine lights flashed ominously. When she took her vehicle to the dealership for an inspection, they found water mixed with gasoline in her car, a clear sign of contamination that could cause significant damage to the vehicle's engine and fuel system. Despite this evidence, Costco denied her claim for compensation, leaving her with a hefty $1,700 repair bill. This incident serves as a cautionary tale for other motorists who may unknowingly fill up their tanks with substandard or contaminated fuel. It also highlights the importance of promptly reporting suspicious fuel issues to the relevant authorities such as the state's fuel and measures department. In Georgia, for instance, motorists can report suspect fuel to the Georgia Fuel and Measures Department, which can then conduct an official test of the gasoline. However, many consumers may not be aware of this procedure, making it harder for them to seek redress when they encounter problems. Michelle admits that she did not contact the Georgia Fuel and Measures immediately after experiencing car troubles because she was unaware of the process, which complicated her situation with Costco. The issue of contaminated fuel is not an isolated incident. In 2023 alone, out of 809 complaints made to the Georgia Fuel and Measures Department, 547 were confirmed cases of substandard or contaminated fuel. These figures underscore the magnitude of the problem and the potential risk to motorists who may unknowingly purchase and use contaminated fuel. Doug Killingsworth from the Department of Agriculture's Fuels and Measures Division emphasizes the importance of immediate action when experiencing car troubles due to potentially contaminated fuel. Signs of contaminated fuel can include difficulty starting the vehicle, stalling, rough idling, unusual engine noises, decreased fuel economy, increased emissions, and the activation of the check engine light. If these symptoms are noticed, it is crucial to stop driving and contact the relevant authorities immediately to prevent further damage to the vehicle. The seventh point in this narrative of strange incidents involves a major banking issue that has emerged recently. Customers of Chase, one of the largest banking institutions in the United States, have reported missing deposits, leading to high levels of stress and uncertainty. Among those affected is Carla Garland, a physical therapist who deposited $13,500 into her account for business expenses. Much to her shock, the money did not appear in her account, leaving her unable to pay her employees and bills. Such a situation can cripple a small business, which often operates on thin margins and relies heavily on cash flow to meet its obligations. Similarly, Greg Wright faced the same issue as Carla. His deposit simply vanished, with no immediate resolution or clear communication from the bank. The lack of transparency and prompt action from the bank only served to exacerbate the anxiety and frustration experienced by these customers. The response from Chase was initially vague, with the bank citing system issues as the cause of the problem. However, as complaints and persistent inquiries from customers piled up, the bank began to take more decisive action to resolve the issue of the missing deposits. These incidents serve as a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance when it comes to managing finances. In the digital age, where transactions are often automated and occur at the click of a button, it's easy to overlook discrepancies until they snowball into significant problems. This situation underscores the importance of keeping all deposit receipts and closely monitoring account transactions. Furthermore, it highlights the need for consumers to be proactive, especially when dealing with automated finances and direct deposits. Errors can occur, and when they do, swift action is required to rectify the situation. It's crucial to speak up and seek help promptly when such errors are detected in order to safeguard financial security. Interestingly, this is not an isolated incident involving Chase. Over the past 7 quarters, the bank has reportedly lost a staggering $248.38 billion deposits, according to a report from Wall Street on Parade. While the reasons for this massive loss are not entirely clear, it certainly raises questions about the bank's management of its customers' funds. Moreover, this incident adds to a string of scandals involving Chase, which have eroded customer trust and confidence in the institution. More and more customers are reporting missing deposits, adding to the mounting concerns about the bank's handling of customer funds. The 8th point in this series of peculiar occurrences focuses on the current energy crisis In Germany and its impact on consumer spending, this situation is significantly different from what's happening in the US, and it underscores the interconnected nature of our global economy. Germany, one of Europe's largest economies, is currently grappling with an energy crisis that is having a profound impact on consumer spending. High energy costs are outpacing wages, leading to a reduction in disposable income for many German households. This shift is causing ripples across the economy, affecting everything from retail sales to the housing market. In stark contrast, the US economy tells a very different story. Here, wages are growing faster than energy costs, indicating a strong economy and increasing purchasing power for American consumers. The disparity between these two economic scenarios highlights how different factors can drive economic outcomes in various regions. However, Germany's economic struggles are not isolated. They are compounded by global trade challenges, particularly in shipping. The recent blockage in the Red Sea, for instance, has led to soaring shipping rates. This issue is not just a problem for Germany. It poses a threat to the resurgence of manufacturing in the US and the global economy at large. Germany's heavy reliance on trade, especially with China, is also being challenged. Increased shipping costs and difficulties in maintaining trade relationships are creating additional hurdles for the German economy, as these challenges reflect the complexities of global trade and the potential vulnerabilities that can arise from over-reliance on specific trade partners. For us consumers and investors, the situation in Germany serves as a reminder of the importance of staying informed about international events. Given the interconnected nature of the world economy, major shifts in one region can have cascading effects elsewhere. What happens in Germany doesn't stay in Germany. It can influence financial markets, trade relationships, and economic policies worldwide.